Jackie, just confirm we do have a quorum. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, more people are time. Okay. All right. We'll call this CBPAC meeting to order at my clock here, 11:01 a.m. First, please give your attention to the short video, which Colin or Jackie will be running.
Here it goes.
Due to COVID-19, this meeting will be conducted as a Zoom meeting pursuant to the provisions of Assembly Bill 361, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act. This meeting is being live streamed on the CCTA website. The chair will call upon members, staff, and other speakers by name. Please speak clearly and state your name before giving comments or remarks. Persons participating via Zoom with their cameras enabled are reminded that their activities are visible to viewers. Members participating by Zoom wishing to speak should physically raise their hand and unmute their mic when called upon. Members should mute their mics when done speaking. Citizens participating by Zoom wishing to speak should use the Raise Hand feature or dial *9 if participating via phone, and the chair or staff will call upon them at the appropriate time. Citizens will have 3 minutes to speak. After 3 minutes, staff will lower their hand and mute their mic. Participants via phone will be called upon by the last 4 digits of their phone number. It is requested that public speakers state their names and organization, but providing such information is voluntary. Written public comments received in accordance with the teleconferencing special notice for public comment guidelines are printed on the meeting agenda. If authors of the written correspondence would like to speak, they should raise their hand and the chair will call upon them at the appropriate time. All written correspondence received after that and during the meeting will be entered into the record. A roll call vote will be taken for all action items. Thank you for participating in a meeting of the Contra Costa Transportation Authority.
All right. Thank you. Next, we'll have a roll call. So, Jackie, if you could do the roll call, please.
All right, let's see. We have Member Byrne, Member Dugan.
Present.
Thank you. Member Foster. Member Karimi. Member Keeshan. Member Olson. I see you. Did you want to? You're here. I see you here. It looks like you're still muted, Member Olson. Member Pinkham. Member Pinkham, looks like you're on mute.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Your classic Zoom mistake. Yes.
No worries. Member Riley.
Present.
Thank you. Member Riker.
Present.
Thank you. Member Simmons.
Present.
Thanks. Vice Chair Weeks.
Here.
Thank you. And Chair Sarmiento.
Here.
Thank you. We have all members present except for members Byrne, Foster, Karimi, and Keeshan.
All right. Thank you, Jackie. So then the next item on the agenda is public comment. Jackie, have we received any public comment?
I have not received any public comment.
Okay. If there are anyone in the Zoom here who would like to speak during public comment on an item not on the agenda, please raise your hand and we'll call upon you. All right. I don't see any hands up here, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent calendar. For the committee, are there any changes or comments that you have? If so, raise your hand. All right, seeing none. If any members of the public have any comments please raise your hand. All right, seeing none. I do need a motion and a second. So if any committee members like to make that motion.
I'd like to motion we
All right.
approve the minutes.
Okay.
Calendar.
Okay, thank you, Committee Member Weeks. So I have a second.
This is Member Riley, I'll second.
Okay, so I have a first by committee member Weeks, second by committee member Riley. Jackie, if you could conduct a roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Member Byrne. Member Dugan. Sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm on
Thank
mute.
you.
Yes.
Member Foster. Member Karimi. Member Keeshan. Member Olson. You're on mute. Did you want to see if you can unmute and we can hear you? Did you want a thumbs up or thumbs down? Yay? Okay. All right, thank you. Member Pinkham. I think you're on mute. I'm sorry, you're muted, Member Pinkham. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I was trying to pull up.
This is for approval of the summary of actions.
Oh,
For
yes.
the minutes?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, it was a yay?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Member Riley,
Yes.
thank you. Member Riker,
Yes.
thank you. Member Simmons,
Yes.
Vice Chair Weeks,
Yes.
thank you. And Chair Sarmiento,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, so motion passes unanimously with members Byrne, Foster, Karimi, and Keeshan absent.
All right, thank you. We'll move next to the regular agenda items, and which is 4A. Start with 4A, which is the presentation from Caltrans District 4 on the bike plan. And we have some Caltrans staff in attendance who make that presentation. So I'm not sure who is it. Jasmine, turn it over to.
Yes.
All right.
Hi,
thank you.
everybody. I'm Jasmine Stitt with Caltrans. Do I pull up the presentation or do you guys pull it up? Do I share screen and pull it up, or?
You should be able to share screen and pull it up.
Yeah, gosh. Let me see. Okay, great. Can you see my screen? Oh, here we go to. Oh, can you guys see my screen? Are you seeing the right screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so hi, everybody. I'm Jasmine Stitt, and I work for Caltrans in Caltrans Bay Area in their bicycle pedestrian branch. I'm the lead on the bike plan update, and Caltrans's bike plan will identify bike barriers to cycling, prioritize improvements on and across the state highway system, and be used as a resource for district staff to inform selection and scoping of projects. So why are we updating our bike plan? Some of you may know, but we already have a bike plan, and at this point it's 5 years old. One of the main goals of this update is performance tracking. So we don't have, or we haven't in the past had a formalized way of tracking our performance, and this is a great way to formalize that at our district and across all Caltrans districts are actually in the process of formalizing that. Our performance tracking. We also want to build on our success and identify barriers and identify more paths forward. There's also a great opportunity for engagement. Caltrans doesn't do as much engagement with our local jurisdictions as we really should. And we could also help align better with the statewide bike ped plan. And it's also a great time to look at changing mobility trends. With the pandemic, we saw a lot of changes in how people get around. We saw a large increase in traffic fatalities. So yeah, this is a time to look at that and to re-examine some of those metrics. So these are our draft visions and goals. We're going to concentrate on 3 different things in the bike plan, which is safety, mobility, and equity. And with the recommendation of prioritizing improvements based on these three goals. So we're going to take the goals of and have metrics for all of them, and use that with public engagement and other locally identified plans throughout the Bay Area to prioritize different projects and funding. And the end of the outcome will be a list of location-based needs with preferred facility types. So this is just some of our progress from Contra Costa County. We've actually made a lot of progress, but this is just some of the larger projects. We have a couple of overcrossings and undercrossings that have made progress throughout the county. Of course, the San Rafael Bridge pilot project was is a high tier bike improvement that's been really it's a high tier bike and major bicycle progress in the last couple of years. We have a web survey live now, so if some of you may already know this and some of you may not, but want to collect public feedback, including your public feedback. But we have a survey that you can go on, and you can also comment on our map. So the survey has two different sections. One of them is just a survey question about just general biking habits and just general issues you have with biking on and across Caltrans's facilities. And the other one's a map-based comment that you can go and click on different places that you want to see improvements, and then you can like other ones that other people put and comment on them as well. So yeah, both of those are live, and they've been live for a couple of months. We're going to actually close it out at the end of October, and yeah, to see what improvement types people want to see on our right of way. So I actually have quite a few questions for you guys. Now that I'm here, I would like to know what you want in our bike plan update and what are priorities in Contra Costa County on across the state highway system, which other elements that you want to see. And I see there's already a hand. So Bill, would you like to?
Yes. Is Caltrans going to put its weight and hopefully even money to preserving the trail on the Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge? The 4-year pilot project is up this October, and we need all the help we can get. Hopefully a large government agency will be on board. What about that?
That is an excellent question. Yes, so Caltrans has currently not made a decision about the 4-year pilot project and if it's going to continue or not continue it. There's been a lot of studies on it. So it did release a study that's on MTC's website, and I can copy and paste the link and put it for, but yeah, it just looks at the positives and negatives of the bridge and the improvements they did to it. I wish I had more things because October is coming up here. It's very, very soon. And Caltrans has currently not even decided how they're going to decide how to make that decision. So I will get back to you, but we at the Bike Ped Branch are constantly asking higher ups about that specific project. And there's been very little talk from Caltrans about even the timeline or how the decision will be made. And
that's surprising that you haven't been thinking about it, because of course, I'm sure you've been getting a lot of pressure from drivers who want that lane, basically because they're using Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge for commuting to avoid the Bay Bridge, you may well know. So there's all that pressure on that side. And Caltrans, unfortunately, in the past has been pretty much about building roads. So I would really like to see them give a lot more support to alternative transportation. We'll see. But
yeah, well,
that's a major pressure right there.
It is, yeah. And a lot of improvements to the bridge have been done in the last 5 years that would be made obsolete if they took it out. So I don't know. We're hopeful at the Bike Ped Branch, but we have not received any information about it. Yeah.
Well, I hope Caltrans will take some responsibility for supporting that trail.
Yeah, I actually, well, I don't want to talk too much because we have more hands raised, but yeah, I actually see the Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge and the decision on that to see if Caltrans can prioritize biking and if it's really changed, because Caltrans has a lot of policies about carbon reduction and climate change goals, but we'll see about the Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge, because if that decision gets made for bikes, then I would say, yeah, Caltrans is actually meeting some of its goals and policies. Okay, sorry. Corey, you're the next one. Would you like to?
Sure. Yeah, and sort of to that, on sort of the same topic, does and I'm sorry, I haven't looked at the plan in almost half a decade now at this point, but does it address Bay Trail access? I mean, so much of Caltrans facilities, especially in the East Bay, go along Bay Trail, and the Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge is obviously a 2.5 mile section of the Bay Trail. Are there policies or anything like that that you all are considering just supporting the Bay Trail sort of in general? And then I had one other question or comment too.
Okay, yeah. You're absolutely right about it. It's a major Bay Trail. MTC is also a partner with that project, and the Richmond San Rafael project, and yeah, their policy is also to help build the Bay Trail. So yeah, it's keeping it seems to me to be aligned with a lot of Caltrans's policies. So, what was your other question?
I was just gonna like talk a little bit about it, like probably some like obvious stuff about like on and off ramps and coordinating with locals and making those things very safe, underpasses, especially. But I'm sure that those are things that you all are already aware of and hopefully addressing in the plan. But those are often the biggest conflict issues when we're looking at pedestrian and bicycle safety when it comes to your all's jurisdiction and stuff.
They are. One of the things the bike plan is hoping to do is we're going to have a best practices section, and we're going to look at best practices for on and off ramps. And there's a lot of good ones in Santa Clara County that are in the design phase that, yeah, we want to highlight. But yeah, there's very few good bikeable on and off ramps currently in most of the Bay Area. Oh, Sean, did you have a question?
Yes, thanks. One sort of logistical and then an overarching question. So we've submitted comments through the map app or other ways through in other versions of this plan. Are we starting from scratch? Like, so if we've put in those comments before, do those carry forward and you're kind of like, yeah, we got those if they weren't or were included in the plan? Or are we starting from scratch? Like, should we continue to bombard you?
No, yeah, we're actually, now that you're talking, I do think I remember Sean having a lot of comments in the map. So yeah, it says so yeah. We're not starting from scratch. We're including all the comments from last bike plans update, and if you had any other, we're also diligently. It's very time consuming, but I go through bike plan updates from all of the counties and the local jurisdictions, and we also incorporate those into ours as well. So yeah,
great. Okay, thanks. And then my second question is, I don't know if you can answer, but is routine accommodation still an active policy for Caltrans, and is there any discussion on, like, every time there's a major roadway improvement or even a new highway or roadway that there be bicycle and pedestrian facilities absolutely included with that by just through the policy, or is that a little too big?
Oh no, that's not too big. You're absolutely. So we actually have since the 2018 bike plan, we've actually changed that language. So yeah, we have director's policy. I believe it's director's policy 37. Oh, I should have it memorized. We have a director's policy, a complete streets policy that says it's actually has very much better language now. It says that Caltrans shall have include connected, convenient, and comfortable bicycle and pedestrian facilities, and for people using transit. So we actually have really good policy statements right now saying that it's Caltrans policy to have convenient, connected, and comfortable bike facilities. And I should point out that we actually don't have a policy saying that we should have LOS for cars. So that's not, so yeah, when we look at those two things, yeah, there's really strong policy language around Caltrans providing comfortable bicycle facilities. We don't live up to that as often, so, but well, yes.
Yeah, thanks. We're really interested at the Park District with Class 1 facilities, and it would be great if Caltrans could get in the business of building that highway system. But that's for another discussion, probably. And I'm probably singing to the choir here.
Yeah. Kristen, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think you just said when you were answering somebody else's question that you've looked through all the various county plans and city plans, and well, I don't know how low you can go on looking at all the plans, and maybe it's pie in the sky, but it would be nice if we're talking about public engagement. I'm sure you get a lot of great data from city and county staff, which is probably the best data, but when you're looking at public engagement, I can't tell you how many times we put out these various surveys from the cities, the county, CCTA, the state, or whatever, asking for people's feedback. And like, I think I saw your very first question is on your survey on the last slide. I think it said something like, you know, what areas in Caltrans jurisdiction, in essence, do you have a problem with, or whatever? And, you know, a general person who's not in the transportation world probably doesn't really know the difference between your jurisdiction and the cities or the county or whatever. So it would just be nice eventually down the line if there was one map where people are putting these comments and taking the time to put in all their things, and it could just be, everybody could be working off the same map, you know, and then it could be highlighted, okay, that's Caltrans, this is county, whatever. So I think it would be nice because we keep asking people for comments and they put something in, and then, you know, Caltrans gonna be like, well, that's city, you know. So anyway, it's just sort of a comment.
You're absolutely correct. I've been doing these outreach events, and some people even think I'm Caltrain.
Yeah.
They're very confused. What's Caltrans right of way? What's not Caltrans right of way? But yeah, it's we're hoping that by scouring county and city data that helps out with that. But yeah, I don't have a good answer to this.
Or even when people do make a comment and it's not in your jurisdiction, if there was a way to like just forward those comments to the right place or to bank them somewhere for the next study. I don't know. It just seems like if we're going to ask for public opinion, we shouldn't just throw it in the garbage when it doesn't apply, which I'm not saying you're doing. To be clear, but that's all. That's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Oh, Chris Weeks, did you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate you making this presentation. We were just talking about Caltrans today in relation to a transit center that we're working on in San Ramon, and thank you for your work on our overcrossing. I wanted to, I'd love to talk to you for 3 hours, but I can't obviously do that. But to start out, I would love to see if, as part of your update, you've considered kind of harmonizing the language between our regional action plans and your plan, using the similar language to like the low stress bike network language. We're going to also doing an update on our bike master plan for City of San Ramon, and we're kind of taking it as an opportunity to try to get all our plans in alignment as far as nomenclature goes. So I'd love for you guys to consider that, and then maybe focus in on some stuff that some improvements that might be patch improvements that hook into routes of regional significance, small places where there's major barriers to bicycle movement. And you know, your interest in the Richmond Bridge is great. It's, my understanding, it's one of the oldest bridges around, and I don't know if people are talking about its lifespan and whether in its maybe it's rebuilding state. There's bike lanes on both sides in both directions. I'd love to see that someday, but barriers like freeways and bridges are major barriers in our communities and for routes of regional significance. So maybe highlighting those in your plan as aspirational goals, you know, with putting a star on the locations where if there was a major improvement there, we could have a large, exciting project that would connect places that have never been connected to each other before. I think that, you know, seeing things like that in Caltrans plan and that bridge, the bridge bike lanes have been an amazing kind of inspiration for cyclists. So it's been great to see you guys taking that on. I wanted to mention also that Strava makes their data available now to anybody that wants to do equity analysis in their plans. So maybe reach out to them. They can get their data for free if you don't already have it. And you know, I'd hate to go through asking you about individual spot improvements. There's lots of them, and you're aware of that. So, I mean, I don't think you're here today to do that, but just see what you can do as far as this update and looking at our regional plans and trying to make it so we all can play together, work together, and apply for grants together. Because if all of our goals are to give cyclists the rights they deserve to access to everywhere a car can go, I think that we can really do some great work. And one of the last thing I'll mention is shoulders. There's lots of places in county land or land that's owned by Caltrans that there isn't enough of a shoulder for a bike to get through. And looking at that to add at least enough shoulder, not even a big bike facility, just enough shoulder to get through safely would go a long way in some of the more rural locations. So that's, I guess, none of those are questions. More of those are just recommendations and requests on behalf of San Ramon. But thanks for listening, and hopefully you can take something from that.
Oh, no, yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, so some of those we are incorporating. So MTC did their active transportation plan, and we're copying a lot of language. So even our goals are mobility, safety, and equity. I think they called mobility something different. I think they called it's like something slightly different, but maybe it's demand or something. But we're mostly referring to MTC, and we're trying to become really we're trying to have our plan and MTC's ones line up a lot. So yeah.
Well, and do what you can to push them a little bit too, if you can, because there's some places where there are routes of regional significance that have a little gap, even a couple blocks, and they just decide not to call it a route of regional significance because there's no bike facility there. And it's really functioning as a route as regional significance. I mean, that's going into individual spot projects, but I mean, there are the potential for these great routes of regional significance with very small addition of some bike infrastructure or shoulders. So just keep that in mind during the discussions.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for your comments. We also, I just want to say, we are keeping Strava and accounts when we look at, and even when I argue for Caltrans internally for more bike improvements, we use Strava all the time for especially the rural routes. If we don't have, because engineers are always telling us no one ever bikes here, and it's like, well,
not true.
Yeah, we have data.
We're just fast.
Yeah, you're just really fast, so you don't see them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Oh, Robert, do you have a question?
I do have some comments, questions, but I do see committee member Olson. I know his hand has been up for quite a while now. Real hand has been up, so I'll defer to committee member Olson, and then I'll chime in after he speaks. So as chair, I guess I'll turn it over. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I saw him too in the thing that he popped away. Yeah, Olson, Ollie, do you want to?
And Oli, you're muted. Actually one second here, Jasmine. Oli, are you the 925-439 number? Okay, let me unmute here. Let me see if I could unmute.
Okay, I apologize for all the drama around my getting hooked up with the microphone. So, Highway 4 between Willow Pass Road, Concord Interchange, and Port Chicago Highway Concord Interchange currently allows bicycles. It allows bicycles because the Delta de Anza Regional Trail extends all the way from Oakley to the Willow Pass Road interchange, and it ends right there. The bicyclist is faced with either riding toward Concord or Willow Pass Road over the Suicide Bridge, or using the shoulder of Highway 4. Caltrans agrees with us that it's a suicide bridge, which is why they allow bicycles on Highway 4. Bicycles would love to get off of Highway 4. Please. I've spoken with Greg Curry about it, and he said, we are not touching that project with a 10-foot pole. When Concord takes over the Concord Naval Weapons Station and begins building their 13,000 houses, they'll tear down the Suicide Bridge, but that's at least 20 years away. Can you do something now to get us this 1.5 mile segment off this 1.5 segment freeway? Thank you.
Yeah, Greg Curry knows more about that project than I do, and he knows more about how to get projects happening in Caltrans. So even if he doesn't, I will identify it in our bike plan. But yeah, it's probably many years away. Yeah. I wish I could have more of a thing for you than that, but we'll make sure it's identified as a high priority improvement in our bike plan, though.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Robert, did you have a comment?
Yeah. Thank you, Jasmine. And first, thanks for the presentation and the opportunity to comment on this bike plan update. Actually, committee member Olson stole one of my comments here. I have the similar comment about that one segment of State Route 4, where the Concord Naval Weapons Station is. And I think there's been heightened interest in, I guess, overall providing a bicycle pedestrian connection between Central County, Concord, and to the east, Bay Point, Pittsburgh. So I think the the easiest route would be some kind of bike ped trail along State Route 4 in that area. So that's one comment. Another comment, and I think some of the a few of the East County committee members here and other local jurisdictions, even some of your Caltrans colleagues are aware. We've been wanting to, I guess it's a combination. City of Pittsburgh, BART, and the county would like to make some bicycle and pedestrian improvements at the intersection of Bailey Road and the Pittsburgh Bay Point BART station. But we've had number of whether it's resistance or lack of push forward in making those improvements. So I would like to see hopefully this bike plan prioritize the intersection. It's it's Bailey Road and the eastbound State Route 4 off and on ramp. So that's if we'd like to see this bike plan prioritize improvements to that intersection. Another, I guess, Caltrans plan that I know I've seen in the last couple of years that I'm curious if it will be included in this bike plan is I have seen a Caltrans bike highway study, and I know I think State Route 4 from Central to East County was, I guess, prioritized as a pilot study. So I'm curious if that will be included, or what aspects of that would be included in the in this update.
Find out. It's one of the identified barriers, and yeah, that project has been. We're really disappointed in Caltrans's inability to put more better bikeways right there.
Okay, thank you. And then one other last final comment or kind of question for you, in regards to being a better partner with local jurisdictions and the public, I'm curious what additional, I guess, engagement with the local jurisdictions are you expected to do with, like, I guess, Contra Costa County jurisdictions, I guess maybe Bay Area wide, but I guess a focus here on Contra Costa County. Are you gonna have additional is this your only meeting with Contra Costa County jurisdictions, or are you going to meet with individual agencies or have additional meetings with CCTA? I guess just kind of want to know more about your engagement with the local jurisdictions.
Yeah, we're still looking at that. We don't have any more things planned with CCTA, but we're going to have focus meetings with the bike advocacies and try to come up with new methods to keep them in the loop. So we're debating about having quarterly meetings with each of our bike advocacy groups and talking about how they can be more involved in individual projects. And we've been trying to bring in more and more of not really county staff, but city staff, and coordinating with them more and having more focus groups when we have projects come up. So having it be when we call them PIDs when we do feasibility studies, and bringing them in and having set focus group meetings with city staff when we have PIDs. So we're trying to come up with what this is what our recommendations are to have moving forward. So
if you mentioned the city, if you could include the county as well in those meetings.
That's probably good feedback.
Okay, thank you. And side note, I used for Caltrans on PIDs many ages ago, so I definitely know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
So,
the project managers don't like us including city staff sometimes. Yeah, but they've been starting to. So yeah, we've been meeting with like Milpitas for one of our projects, and yeah, bringing them into our PID when we have actual meet as part of our our formal oh, we have a PID, let's talk to the city of Milpitas and what their priorities are here too. So it's been really helpful sometimes.
yeah, so yeah, I appreciate if you could include the county. So yeah, those are all my comments. So thank you, Jasmine.
Oh, Bill?
Yes, this is falls in the category FYI. I've been working with a group from the Albany Rollers and Strollers. They're BPAC, and I'm kind of the representative of the Richmond BPAC in this. We're working on safe routes from BART to the Bay Trail. This very first one it happens to come from El Cerrito Plaza to the Bay Trail here. I think it's three freeway overpasses are involved, with a couple of ones that have on-ramps, off-ramps. And so that's pretty critical. I think it'll be a great thing. I hope it works and hope it catches on. It's definitely going to happen. City of El Cerrito has been very good supporting us, and we're going to have this signage, et cetera. And if it were to take off in the Bay Area, that'd be just fabulous. And there'll be many communities that will have to, how many freeways go along the Bay, that they'll have to be dealt with. So we'll be happy to keep you informed of the progress, but it's just something to put in your memory file or what have you. I hope to heck it becomes universal around the Bay. That would be fabulous.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Actually, I actually was at the El Cerrito Strollers and Rollers meeting last month, so
really?
I presented there too. And yes, they it's Central Ave is their BART to Bay Trail is where it goes, and yeah, it goes across at least 2 freeways. Yeah, the 80 kind of splits off right there. I forget what it splits off to. It's the 80 and the other one. But is it 80 and 880 or 80 and 580? But anyway, it splits off there, and it goes over both of them. And we have a good plan for how to get under one of them, but the other one is terrible. And yeah, they brought up that their preferred facility is a sidewalk level class 1, so that a 2-way for both sides, so that it connects more seamlessly. But yeah,
I'm really happy that you're already connected with that. That's great.
Yeah, it's really great that El Cerrito, and especially in Richmond as well. I went on a Rich City ride for 2 months ago, and yeah, it's very easy for us when the locals are so plugged into their to what they want and what their needs are. So yeah, we're
Rich City Rides is the best bike shop in the world. So workers cooperative, and you all have wonderful things, women's rides, Fix It Fridays, fixing bikes for free, etc. So, and a commercial, but they're a great group.
Yeah, not to tab on them further, but I was so impressed with Danny. I had never met Danny before, and yeah, he's very impressive. Yeah,
yes,
his just ability to if every city had a Danny, we should just clone him and put him throughout this Bay Area, because anyway,
wonderful group.
Yeah. Oh, Ollie, you have another question? Oh, we can't hear you, Ollie, if you're speaking. Oh. Oh, we can hear you now, I think. No, never mind. No. Sorry. Oh no, we still can't hear you. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it looks like you're unmuted. I don't know, Oli, so next to the little microphone icon at the bottom left of your Zoom, there's like a little, caret. If you click that, just make sure your input is for your microphone.
I think Committee Member Riley, I think Committee Member Olson is using his cell phone Like that's the number.
Right, I thought he was using his cell phone because maybe his microphone.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I guess maybe we could go back to yeah, I do have one comment, and then I
Oh, yeah,
see committee member
right.
Weeks,
Go
but
for
maybe we go back to committee member Olson. Hopefully we get that technical issues figured out. But I do have one additional comment because in regards to priority bikeway projects and using elements from other plans, just the county, Contra Costa County, we're fortunate to have some major regional trails, such of course the Iron Horse Trail comes to mind, and the Ohlone Greenway and West County. So the Iron Horse Trail in Central and South County, the Ohlone Greenway in West County, and then going east-west is the Delta de Anza Trail. I guess one comment, if I know, I think I've heard in the past that with Caltrans they want to emphasize bike and pedestrian trails adjacent to the freeway, and given that, I don't know, limited right of way, or kind of starting from scratch with those kind of projects, if Caltrans would consider using these existing regional trails, because they're pretty much parallel, not too far from the freeways, if they can consider making improvements to the existing regional trails, like including the ones I just mentioned, and incorporating that into the plan.
Yeah, you bring up, yeah, that's normally a good way to go about it. It depends if they're like in Caltrans right away or just outside, and then maybe if where they're outside, maybe we can just be a funding partner. We have that problem with 280 in Cupertino. They have a 280 trail that goes along the 280, but it's like just outside our right of way. So like it's in. So yeah, we try to be a partner with them through funding, but our funding isn't.
I would say this: the local jurisdictions will never say no to additional funding. So if we would appreciate, we would appreciate. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, we're really hoping that we'll get more funding, but I don't know if you've seen ATP this year and its funding level compared to last ATP cycle. It's a little disappointing. So it was I think it was it's like only 500 million this year, and it was like double that last cycle. So yeah, it's very but you bring up a good point. Our bike highway study was too high level to identify specifics like that, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Chris Weeks, do you want to?
Sorry, I just read through your slide and I realized I left out a couple of answers here. Just one thing I was thinking, we were just certified bicycle friendly community a year or so ago at the entry level, but I was curious if Caltrans ever thought about looking at seeing what they can do, working with the League of American Bicyclists about trying to get Caltrans certified as a bicycle friendly organization. That might be interesting. I've never heard of anybody doing that. So I know that we're looking at doing things like adding counters, bike counters, and freeway overcrossings would definitely be an interesting place to have consistent counting available to us to know how many cyclists are moving across those intersections. And that's part of the certification process. So just a thought. And then the second point would be Caltrans park and rides. Have a lot of requests for people who want to park their bikes at secure parking locations at park and rides, and not seeing a lot of e-lockers available at those locations. I'm seeing kind of last generation lockers, and oftentimes there's all kinds of issues related to those. So along with us, we're all clamoring to try to get more e-lockers. So maybe be a partner with the communities and look at maybe being a place where if you guys have a better track to being able to get e-lockers, drop them in your park and rides. I know we've had requests for our Bollinger park and ride, since it's primarily being used by corporate shuttles at this time. And they're very nearly back to pre-COVID levels of parking and are asking for enforcement and all kinds of stuff. So look to that coming to the fore in the coming months. And I would recommend, if we could, try to get e-lockers at some of those to swap out the old locker systems. I'd really appreciate throwing that into your plan. Thank you.
Yeah, you actually bring up a lot of good points. That's a good point to bring up. Bike parking at, yeah, we have a mobility hub study that looked at how to look at mobility hubs, but I actually, yeah, we should incorporate that into our bike plan and see if they had e-lockers. Yeah, the old ones are lame. The key ones, yeah, they should all be done over, and it's been taking a long time to move them over. So yeah, you bring up a lot of good points. I'll also look into the League of American Cyclists. Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, Robert, did you have another question or
no, not a
or comment? No. Oh wait, you're on mute now. Oh,
sorry about that. I hit the wrong button real quick. But Jasmine, thank you for facilitating all the Q&A. But I think I'll jump in for 1 second here just to see if I could get committee member Olson to try one more time to see if he can get his phone to work.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear
yeah,
you now.
Hear you.
We can. Okay, thank you. Robert, you're the guy. I appreciate your concern. You're a good man.
I like that in the record. Thank you. Thank you. We were Olson. So go ahead. Just joking here.
So, could Caltrans make it a little bit easier to work with cities, or for cities to work with Caltrans if they want to put a bicycle path along a Caltrans facility? The city of Pittsburgh wants to build a path along California Avenue just to the north of Highway 4 between Harbor Street and Loveridge Road, and staff has basically given up trying because Caltrans is so hard to deal with. Activists are pushing staff, and staff are shoving away, saying, just not effort to work with Caltrans. Thank you for your concern.
Oh yeah, sorry. We are very difficult to work with. I wish I could tell you otherwise, but yeah. So the best way to do that around is to contact Greg and Sergio, but I assume that they have Greg and Sergio can sometimes help making it easier, and they, especially a class 1 though, like a facility, they would we have complicated maintenance agreements, we have complicated permit processes. The best I could offer you is that Sergio and Greg are good at that, at trying to get making Caltrans process move smoother, but it's that process would still probably be very difficult. But I'll look into this to see if any improvement. Did you know if that occurred recently, or Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh's
over the past several years, we have tried several times with several different staff members, but I will recommend contacting Sergio and Greg and see if I can light a fire under the new staff member once more.
Yeah, Sergio Ruiz and Greg Curry are fairly good at getting it, but it's difficult sometimes. So that's not really relevant to that specific project, but Caltrans actually recently did a pop-up bikeway, which was a temporary bikeway along El Camino, and staff before that was like, no, Caltrans would never allow a pop-up bikeway on it, like a temporary class 4 on our facility, and we did it. So there's things that we didn't do ever, and then we started doing, but yeah, I can't think of an example of like a class 1, like a big construction project like that, but yeah,
All right, thank you. You've given me hope.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Jasmine from committee members?
Yeah, if you guys think of a question later, you could contact me at d4bikeplan@dot.ca.gov or jasmine.stitt@dot.ca.gov. So yeah, I really want to know if you have, if anything, you ever have a thing and you have a thing, you could always, email me. And I would, yeah, and I will, yeah.
All right, thank you, Jasmine. Real quick, I might keep you on here for one more minute. I just want to make sure any, reach out to members of the public if they have any questions or comments for Jasmine on this item. All right, hearing none. Actually, just one real quick question, Jasmine. You just mentioned a demonstration project at El Camino Real. Like, which city was that located in?
Yeah, so we actually did 2 demonstration projects. We did that with South San Francisco, and we did another one, and the city of San Leandro did it on East 14th Street. So we had 2 pop-up demonstration bikeways that that occurred on Caltrans right away just over the summer. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, if no other questions or comments from committee members of the public, we'll move on to the next item. Thank you, Jasmine, for that presentation. Okay, we'll move on to item 4B, which is review of the complete streets checklist for compliance with MTC's resolution number 4493. And the project of note here is the Town of Moraga, St. Mary's Road Multimodal Safety Improvements Project. So I did see Sean Knapp from Moraga Public Works, and also I've not met before, Justin from the Town of Moraga as well. So I'll turn it over to either of you to present the item.
Great,
Thanks.
Thank you, Sean Knapp, Public Works Director, Town Engineer with the Town of Moraga. I have a short presentation to go through, and I'll try to share the screen. And let me make an adjustment for myself. Do you see the presentation? Okay. It's on a separate screen for me, so I'll kind of browse it. I'll turn my head at times to see where I'm at here. But thank you again for hearing about our project. Thank you, the Countywide Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, for hearing about our project and providing us feedback. We don't have the technical committee within the Town of Moraga, so we do rely heavily on the Contra Costa committee for this, and so we appreciate that. Since 2007, the St. Mary's Road at Reen Boulevard intersection and the adjacent St. Mary's Road at the Boulder Canyon has been a high priority, safety priority for the town and the community. We've had numerous incidents and accidents at this location because of a lot of different things that we'll go into shortly. We've had different studies on looking at the physical constraints, the existing S-curve, sight line obstructions, grade changes, safety concerns, and multimodal opportunities that we've been reviewing to come up with this project. So, of course, the project's located in Contra Costa in Moraga, and we've got a map here, and we'll get pictures showing it a little bit closer up as we go through the presentation. So the project itself was reviewed by the Contra Costa Transportation Authority's 2024 STIP subcommittee, composed of 9 technical members that viewed this project as the highest ranked Contra Costa STIP project application for again, it's the 2024 STIP update, which is done every 2 years. The state reviews projects and typically has a call for projects. Robert had missed mentioning the Lafayette Moraga Regional Trail when he was talking about regional trails. And so I'm glad we're here today to talk about our regional trail that goes along St. Mary's Road there. So St. Mary's Road is a primary multimodal corridor through Moraga. And as you can see, it connects many different aspects of our small little town: shopping centers, multiple shopping centers, the St. Mary's College. It is one of only 5 evacuation routes using 2-lane roads in and out of the town. And so it's very important to us. I'd like to mention that as a former competitive cyclist, as a group cyclist, as a parent, I've used all modes of multimodal modes of transportation along St. Mary's Road. And using the St. Mary's Road itself is quite exhilarating with its S curve and its downhill and multi-turns. And as a kind of fast cyclist, it's a desired training route. And so we're talking about those roads less traveled. Moraga is kind of at the center of that, and that many recreational cyclists travel through Moraga to get to those roads less traveled. And so you say, well, why put improvements out there, bike lanes and such, and as you're going out there, but the cyclists want to get out to those challenging areas where there is less traffic. And so having facilities to make it easier for them to get out there safely is a priority for the town of Moraga. This shows a kind of a picture of the area that we're dealing with its famous S curve going down Moraga, going through Moraga on the St. Mary's Road. We have the adjacent Lafayette Moraga Regional Trail there that's used by many different users, pedestrians, cyclists, in some areas even equestrians. And so the intent of this program is to make multimodal improvements to both facilities to make them safer for all types of users. Got a picture here of a large truck that did not traverse this winding S-curve with the changes in elevation, and it did a rollover, which has happened a number of times along this section of roadway. And so we're looking into make improvements to the roadway for everyone, including the vehicles. Here we see this kind of some sight distance issues. If you're coming up to the stop bars, and it's the picture at the top shows one perspective looking to the right, and the pictures on the bottom show the perspective looking to the right. As your vehicle, if you're approaching St. Mary's Road from Ream, you really have to inch out further and further into the crosswalk, which is the Lafayette Moraga Regional Trail, to see anything, and it's very difficult. And as the road dips down, the cars get lost in that dip and that elevation change, and so you basically have to wait a long time to really feel that you're comfortable to enter into the roadway. We currently don't have a signal at either of these intersections, and it's kind of precarious when you try to enter the intersections because of the drop in elevation and the curves. And then the other side also has a curve in the roadway, and cars have kind of a free rein to go at higher speeds because the road's fairly wide and there is no stop signs that are stopping them on St. Mary's Road. So we're looking to address those sight distance issues, visibility issues, add additional multimodal capacity. We have, there is no direct access for multimodal travel onto Bollinger Canyon currently. And so we have a community up there that it's very difficult for them to get out of their community and enter St. Mary's area because there's no sidewalks, there's no bike paths, there's no bike lanes and stuff. And so this project intends to add those features there. It's been identified in our walk bike plan as a needed place to help improve mobility for our residents. The project, oops, jumped too far. The project's been identified in many different studies, programs, funding sources, and it ties into many of the goals of many of the different state initiatives. And so this is just a listing of a few of those. It's been listed in and studied and recommended for improvements. Here's kind of an aerial showing, and hopefully you can read the little text there, but there's so many opportunities for improvements at this roadway in between these two intersections. And we're looking forward to getting input from the committee here and implementing things. We are in the beginning of the design phase. The funding doesn't become available until the fiscal year 2027. So we'll have a number of years before we start ramping up this project if it gets approved. And I'll go into some more details and more highlights. Kind of, of course, we're looking at widening the road for multimodal use. So these are some different profiles where we'll do some widening and helping straightening of the road and making it more easier to navigate. This site offers lots of opportunities for the town. We do have some of our colleagues from the East Bay Regional Park District who manage the Lafayette Moraga Trail for both the residents and both of Lafayette and Moraga. Much of that land is either owned by Moraga or Lafayette in many cases. And we actually have a large parcel at this intersection that we're trying to plan for some sort of mini park there, bike park, facility park, provide water, different amenities. As we'll look through here, maybe a bike station. We've envisioned this small park would have kind of an aid station for different amenities, including bicycle amenities, mapping, a little rest stop. We do have our famous Commons Park down the road, which people come to enjoy, but this would be a little oasis at this location. So the town's ask is approximately $10 million for the project, including all these different amenities. We have a co-match about $1.3 million. Again, the money doesn't come forward until 2027 and onward. And so our project schedule is somewhat out here. We're going through the approval process, getting reviews to get the project up and running. So at this point, I'm looking for any questions or feedback that you could help us with the project. We did complete an extensive checklist that came with the packet also.
All right, thank you for that presentation, Sean, and my apologies for missing the Lafayette Moraga Trail in the previous item on that one. So I'll turn it over to committee members if they have any questions or comments to Sean for this item. If so, please raise your hand. Oh, okay. Committee member Dugan.
Hi, Sean. I was trying to get a good look at your rough project plan, and I saw a sidewalk on the side of Bollinger. It was labeled access by Bollinger, but it looked like it dead ended. I'm wondering if you could bring up that slide again and just sort of explain what's going on the southern part of that, if you have a sec.
Sure. Let me see if I can get back there. I turned everything off. Just a moment here.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries.
It was sort of the schematic graphic overhead view.
Yes. I'm getting it up now. Are you able to see a full view of it?
Yep, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bollinger Canyon Road serves what we call the Bluffs neighborhood, and then there's a desired development that's planned for further up the road, which would add more residents. And currently, Bollinger Canyon doesn't have any sidewalk, or it has very narrow shoulders. And the intent of this project is to bring the facility to Bollinger Canyon. And then if there was development further up the road, that this would be the nexus for working with the developer to develop, sidewalk, pathway, some facility to make the Bollinger more accessible. But currently, it's a kind of a rural road, Bollinger Canyon. It's a dead end. It doesn't go through. Doesn't have a lot of traffic, limited, residents right now, but there could be a more with a planned development because there is acreage up there. And so this would kind of set the stage for allowing that kind of a development, you know, the multimodal development of Bollinger Canyon.
Great. Okay, thanks. So the fact that it's a dead end and doesn't receive a lot of use is giving you comfort that this isn't going to lead to people trying to find their way around there when they hit the dead end, depending on when that sidewalk gets constructed.
Yeah, it's, you know, it serves the community that's up there, and then if the community expands, it would be serving that community in addition to it. And then this helps us work with the developer to make it a multimodal connection to the rest of Moraga.
Great. Okay. Thanks for bringing that back up. I appreciate it.
Sure. Should I take it down again, or should I leave it up during the discussion?
Sean, I think it'd be better if you keep it up because I think people may reference the slideshow.
Sure.
Next, I see we have committee member Weeks.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for presenting. I was really happy to see this got funded. So congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Had a couple quick questions. I kept thinking about just outside of this project area on the trail, there's that kind of waterfall that emerges from the side of the trail. Do you know what I'm talking about there? It seems like it's been a couple times the trail has been closed during the winter time due to rock falls and other things. So I just wanted to see if you guys have, you know, some kind of planning you're doing. I'm assuming you do, in maintaining that connectivity, because you've actually last couple of winters the trail was actually completely closed. Is there a discussion of that or ideas about how to address that piece on the trail that you've heard about?
Maybe you can tell me where exactly this is again, and then Sean is on the line too. He can help me with a little bit, maybe. Which relative to the location of the Ream and St. Mary's?
If you drew a line upward on the map from that last comment on the right-hand side of the page, it says raised median stand to channelize and slow traffic. There's like the last, if you just go up to where from there, where you'd hit the trail with your cursor, I think is where you would run into this little, it's like a little waterway that comes out of the hillside, a piece of rock, and there's a little rock fall that goes across the trail each winter.
Okay, and now I understand. Yes.
Yeah. So just curious if that was something that if there's kind of an additional plan that hooks into the edge of this to keep that section of the trail open as this becomes more of a popular place. I have another question after that.
Yeah, I guess that would be something we'd work with our partners over at East Bay Regional Park District to look at how we, and that's an interesting, you know, topography right there with the hillside and the rocks there, and it does get a lot of rain during the winter. So that if we could tie that in somehow with the project, this is on the highway system, and that's off the highway system. We'll look at how to partner with them. I don't know if we can tie it in directly with the project because they're very confined to the roadway area and adjacent to the roadway area for improvements.
Yeah, I threw that in there for Sean to consider a little bit, just because I think that this is going to be a huge deal when it's built, and it's going to be beautiful. And it would be a shame to have all the emphasis put on the park district and the access right there if that thing doesn't get dealt with at some point. So just an idea. My second question was, did you guys, I know this is hot button issue for a lot of engineers, but did you guys consider like any kind of diagonal crossing here to get to across the intersection there where you have the crosswalks? I know you have box crossings all around there, but there's people coming from the trail in all directions, and they may profit from the idea of being able to cross diagonally from either heading from the north or south or wherever they're coming from. Did you consider other kinds of things like a scramble in this location? I know most people think scrambles are for busy places, but might save people a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's something we can consider as we go through the design process, which we, of course, will be starting in earnest. So, it is wide open at this point. We have conceptions based on a lot of feedback we've got back from the community, many meetings about this project. And then as we move forward, we'll get additional feedback in the design process. So it's something we can surely consider.
Great. And is there, I didn't consider as much the intersection at Bollinger, and that's going to be a big change, putting in their street light off Bollinger there. It gets very rural as you go up Bollinger Road, up to the point of being dirt roads up there. So this is going to be a big infrastructure improvement for those guys, and it's pretty exciting for them. As far as this, I know you mentioned that there was a piece of land off the side of this that you guys own. Is that the one that's listed as something like Pat Vincent Memorial Field adjacent? Is that big wedge there along Las Trampas Creek? Is that city property?
Yeah, if you're looking at the kind of the intersection of Ream as it ties into St. Mary's with the larger intersection there, the town owns property on each side of Ream Boulevard, and that wedge is going towards the left of the picture. The pocket part was kind of envisioned to be where there's a picture of a bicycle on a stand there. And there's a leader kind of going to that area. That property was kind of envisioned to be the property for the pocket park area.
The other side's too steep, probably.
Yeah, we've got a lot of trees. You got some hillside changes, and the road's starting to change a little bit. So there's available open space coming right. It's basically, you come up the hill, you're coming up like a real steep little hill as you're coming from the right to the left. And it would kind of be a nice place to get a little bit of a breather, a rest stop area.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You've earned it. It's kind of the steepest part of the regional trail.
Yep. And then one thing we've been doing a lot here in San Ramon for our East Bay Regional Parks Iron Horse Trail road crossings is putting in the RFB light blinking stuff for the crossings for the trail. So I don't see that you have that planned for the trail crossing here of Ream, but it might be worth considering if I know that there was additional funds added to your ask. At least that's what I heard. I don't know if I got it wrong, but if you're looking for other bells and whistles to blow and ring, you might want to consider putting in something for that crosswalk. Even something raised might be helpful. Like more of a speed table crosswalk style thing.
Right.
I don't know if you don't want people to get air going over those things, but there's just a lot of, as you know, a lot of pedestrians moving through that space. And we're going to have a lot of cyclists moving at high speed. So it's definitely going to be an improvement no matter what you do, but yeah, see what you can do as far as getting counters in that section. Some kind of cameras that actually do bike counting. I keep bringing that up because we were asked for bike counts and we really don't have great bike counts, and we're trying to find ways to get our hands on them. So if you could put a counter in there or a camera that counts bikes, I know the video does a pretty good job of that. Would be a great idea. And
yeah, you bring up a good point. These intersections will tie into our smart signals project in the Lamorinda area, which will have those safety features for the pedestrians and cyclists, and then allow us to do counts like that. So I forgot to mention that these all the intersections, we're a relatively small agency, and so we're able to upgrade all our intersections with this smart signal project. We've got 2 separate different funding sources. We're really excited about all the kind of safety improvements it's going to be for both our multimodal users. And so I'm glad you brought that up. And yes.
Okay, so by 2030, when you put this stuff all in, there's going to be new cameras. And what I've heard is that the thermal cameras are the up and coming thing. So I don't know, maybe put in, a couple of different types of cameras, maybe give us some ideas about what works and what doesn't, that kind of stuff. Thank you. Appreciate you letting me make some comments.
Of course.
All right, any other committee member questions or comments for Sean? Okay, seeing no hands up, do any members of the public have any questions or comments for Sean? If so, raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Sean, for that presentation. And we will move on to item C, which is an update on the coordinated countywide comprehensive safety action plan. I think this is an item, I'll turn it over to Colin. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. So just a quick verbal update on the countywide safety action planning that is ongoing, which includes Kittleson consultant and Kimley Horn consultant, supporting each of the different subregions and the jurisdictions within each. We're using MTC's regional tool for collision analysis called BayViz, and have coordinated with each of the local jurisdictions to build upon the local road safety plan that was adopted locally in most cases. There's a few that are still working on it and trying to finish by the end of this calendar year to be consistent with MTC policy and Caltrans policy. Other updates is that we'll be going to the regional transportation planning advisory committees in the coming months to get input. And so looking forward to your input through that process. I think we'll be starting with Transplan in East County in October. And let's see. In terms of Vision Zero, countywide Vision Zero, the CCTA has adopted policy resolution 21-40-G as amended, and so that policy states that CCTA will work with local jurisdictions to eliminate fatalities and severe injuries by 2034, with a 50% reduction by 2029. And so the intent of this plan is to help quantify how to get to those, how to implement that, how to get to those goals, and how to work with local jurisdictions. So far, City of Lafayette in November of 2021 adopted a Vision Zero policy that CCTA helped with. And most recently in August of 2023, City of Walnut Creek adopted a Vision Zero policy that prioritizes human life and the movement of people. So I definitely recommend taking a look at that. And if there's any other local jurisdictions that are interested to coordinate with CCTA to adopt a Vision Zero policy, happy to work with you. Please feel free to call me directly and we can chat further. There'll be a lot more details coming up once we have the data summary for the countywide safety action planning. But the idea is to empower local agencies to be their own lead applicant for SS4A, Safe Streets and Roads for All, USDOT application for round 3 coming up next spring. And happy to take any questions and hear any input, comments, requests.
All right, thank you for that update, Colin. Any committee member questions or comments? If so, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none, turn over to the public. If there, actually, I do see a hand up. We'll turn over to committee member Weeks. Do you have a question?
Just a fast one. Yes, we definitely want to partner with you on this, Colin. And we're looking for grant funding to actually come up with a Vision Zero plan. And following what we've seen happen in Lafayette and Walnut Creek, we definitely want to do this. So you'll get a call from us soon. I want to see if we're successful in applying for some grant funds to do some public outreach related to this and get a real plan together rather than just getting a statement. But we may, if we don't get that, then maybe we'll start with a statement. Got to start somewhere. So I appreciate you for the invite, and forward to working with other agencies here who have already done it. I'll probably reach out to Patrick over at Lafayette first, and then get in touch with you. So thanks for bringing.
Good. And feel free to have folks visit cctasafetyplan.com. There's an interactive map that people from any jurisdiction can provide input on, and we'll be sure to share that with you and your colleagues if it's relevant to your area.
Okay, and do you have like sample resolutions that individual cities can do and things like that we could pull from?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other committee member questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Any questions or comments from the public? If so, raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Colin, for that update. All right, we'll now move on to item D, which is other business. Is there any business or information for committee members to share with the group here? All right, a number of them. We'll start with, at least on my Zoom here, committee member Dugan.
You guys got to be faster. I got right in there, Corey. Anyway, thank you. I just wanted to give an update for those of you who didn't know that Park District in the September 25th adopted a resolution to change our ordinance regarding e-bikes and paved regional trails. In 2018, we finished a pilot study. It's pretty early, I guess I would say, in the age of e-bikes, as far as their popularity was just kind of growing then. We collected a bunch of data, surveyed folks on the trail, took counts, etc., and opened 8 of our regional trails to e-bikes, to class 1 and 2 e-bikes. And so in an attempt to clean up our ordinance for our dirt trails, we decided that we wanted to propose to our board that class 1 and 2 e-bikes be allowed on all of our regional trails, which mainly added the San Francisco Bay Trail into the mix, which I think was somewhat controversial back in the day, but our board unanimously approved it. And so class 1 and 2 e-bikes are allowed on all Park District operated paved regional trails at this time. And one of the things that we need to do is we're going to embark on collecting a little bit more data on e-bikes on our trails, see if there's any issues related to this change for the next year. And I've talked to MTC about utilizing some of the consultants they have on their bench to work in some in-person counts and things throughout both Contra Costa and Alameda County to really determine what level of e-bike usage we see out there. So stay tuned for that. I do know that I've talked with CCTA staff before about better counts, trail counters, etc. in Contra Costa County, but they don't determine whether you're on an e-bike or a regular bike. So it's like a whole different animal that we'll be pursuing. So if anybody has any resources or references or ideas on that, I'm open to how others are collecting this data. Otherwise, stay tuned, and hoping to come up with something in the next several months. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Committee Member Dugan. Next, I see Matt Kelly had his hand up.
Thank you, Chair Robert. Matt Kelly with the Contra Costa Transportation Authority. I'm bringing this item up at the request of Member Olson. CCTA is in the process of updating its project database. I'm not going to give you all the acronyms, but it's our comprehensive transportation project list. It's every project that's ever come that comes from our local project sponsors over the years, and we're using it to put together a variety of project lists. And so we've just last month sent a request out to all of our project sponsors, And a sponsor is basically one of our public agencies that is responsible for implementing the project. So we need to have project sponsors put them in. But the reason Member Olson reached out is because there are around the county a lot of bike ped type projects that may have some support from the bike community that may not be on the, on the books of a particular city or sponsor. So we wanted to let you know that we were doing that in case there were projects that the bike community or others were aware of that may not have a sponsor to put it in the database. So I'm here today to encourage, if there are projects like that that you know about, to contact the logical sponsor. If you're in Walnut Creek and it's on Ignacio Valley road, then you would work with Walnut Creek staff. If it's something on East Bay Parks right away, you would want to work with them. If you contact a sponsor and they're not interested or something like that, you can contact me and we can probably find a way to get it in the database. But I just wanted to let everyone know we were doing that in case there are some of these projects out there that may not have a sponsor, but may have a lot of support from community members or the bike advocates. So I can certainly take any questions and let you know that we are allowing updates through October 13th. So that's a little less than 3 weeks. But we're going around to all the sub-regions to let them know and remind them. And that's how Member Olson heard about this. And just so you know, we are coordinating with TRAC out in West County. They focus on the Bay Trail around that part of the county. So I can take any questions if you have any.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Any questions or comments for Matt on the item he brought up? Okay, seeing none, I'll turn over next to committee member Riley.
All right, thank you. So I just wanted to let everyone know that the Richmond Bike Share program is going to be unveiled once again this week. It's had a bit of a storied history. There's been just companies going out of business and COVID and all this stuff. But the city staff has been working really hard to get the program back online. It's got funding from MTC, and MTC has been really good about continuing to understand kind of all the sort of tumultuousness that's been going on, really through no fault of anyone other than a pandemic. So it's going to be unveiled at the Richmond Drive Electric event, which is taking place from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock on Thursday at City Hall. So come down if you want to see other things about electric vehicles and all that stuff, but also there will be a section there dedicated to the Richmond Bike Share program.
All right. Thank you, Committee Member Riley. Next, Committee Member Riker.
Hi, Corey, you just reminded me that you might want to share information about the extremely limited MTC e-bike rebate program available for Richmond residents and San Rafael residents.
Yeah, that's
rebate, but super limited in scope. But you can just maybe share more on that.
That's true. It's limited in scope for who's eligible, but if you are eligible, it's the biggest incentive that I've seen. So they can provide up to $1,000 off the cost of a new e-bike, particularly to income qualified commuters. They're really looking for people who are commuting across the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge, and they have a website where you can look at all the different qualifications and stuff to it. But it could, if you do fit, or if you know someone that does fit the qualifications, it can be a very big rebate, anywhere from $500 to $1,000.
And the qualification is you have to live and work in those two cities on the each end of the bridge. So, and you're going to bike there.
In the eligible, zip codes.
All right. Thank you, Committee Member Riker. Any other committee member comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item E, which is upcoming subjects for discussion. For the community members, are there any topics that we'd like to discuss at a future meeting? If so, please speak up, raise your hand, speak up. Okay, not seeing any hands up. Oh, okay, start with Vice Chair Weeks.
Hi, thank you. There's always so many great things we can talk about. It's overwhelming when you ask that question. It's like, where do we start? But the first thing that seems to be coming to my mind is something about, I keep bringing up e-lockers and bike parking at regional destinations. This is like gnawing on this bone for a couple of years now, and it just seems like it would be really great if we had some regional guidance as far as how to qualify for grants for this kind of e-locker upgrade, how we can look at maybe making it a requirement for destination areas that may be shopping malls or places where people bike a lot to, where there's a critical mass of destinations, to require some type of e-locker banks or facilities for this as far as development goes. I'd really love to do this. I don't have the magic answer to it, but I'd be interested in hearing more about what they're doing in other parts of the country and seeing if there's a way that we could consider possibly instituting this. I know as a rider of a bike that I'm in love with, I do not want to leave it in a bike rack. I never will put on a bike rack anymore, but an e-locker, I can just barely stomach that. And so I think that it would allow me to be able to go shopping and enjoy businesses that I cannot go to now. I have to have another person with me to watch my bike while I go in. So it would be really great to give some clarity to the region on this and give cities something they can hang a hat on as when we're pushing for e-lockers in our communities, and then getting some help on how we qualify for the grants and making them financially feasible for us to install rather than just standard keyed bike lockers. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Vice Chair Weeks. Next is Community Member Riker.
Thanks for bringing that up, Chris. I couldn't agree more. I think talking about bike lockers and seeing how all of the 19 cities and county can work together to maybe get collective bargaining on the cost from Bike Link would be great. We're looking at funding some lockers, and it's like $25,000 for 2 lockers that store 4 bikes. But if all 19 cities had maybe 2 or 3 locations that they wanted to put in, and we could all go in on it at the same time, I have to believe that there could be a deal made to make it more achievable. So working together would be great. And if CCTA or somebody wanted to help lead that effort, that would be, well, I suppose 501 Contra Costa would be an appropriate leader on that as well. I think that'd be definitely worth talking about. But what I've raised my hand for is I'd like to be kept in the loop in case CCTA or others has any inside scoop on the speed camera pilot that hopefully will be approved in the near future for our state. And I guess it's only in 3 Northern California cities and 3 in the South, but I think we should definitely keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on in that world. And if it goes through, see how we can get on the top of the list for bringing that to Contra Costa County. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, thank you, Community Member Riker. Next, Community Member Riley.
Thanks. This is just more like a thought that sort of occurred to me when we were meeting when Caltrans was presenting and saying that their bike plan was 5 years old, and my thought was, oh no, is 5 years old? Because my town, Richmond, our bike plan is over a dozen years old at this point, and so I guess I was just wondering about like funding opportunities or things like that we would be able to share with our cities to be able to sort of get the funds to, keep on top of this stuff. I mean, things have changed a lot in the last 5 years, and they've certainly changed a lot more in the last dozen years. And so just knowing about, things that we could help our cities with for, getting the resources to update the plans and keep them current.
Okay, thank you, Committee Member Riley. Next, I'll go Committee Member Pinkham, and then after Committee Member Olson. So, Committee Member Pinkham.
Yeah, the discussion about bike lockers made me think that perhaps sometime we should have a discussion about bike safety, keeping them from getting stolen. We might bring in some policemen that are concerned with that. There's the issue of air tags. There's the issue of people using grinders to cut really good locks. There are, maybe we can find out some things that would help us all in that respect. I don't know exactly how to go about it, but I think we could start with at least talking to a policeman, maybe if he would like to address us one day.
You could also invite the bike link people. I work with them regularly.
Okay, thank you, Committee Member Pinkham. Next, Committee Member Olson. I can't hear you, Committee Member Olson. No, still can't hear you. You're muted. I see on Zoom that your phone number is muted, so you might want to unmute the phone part, your phone. No, still can't hear you. All right, Committee Member Olson, if you have any comments, you could send it to Colin, and he could forward it on to the group. Any other comments or items for discussion for a future meeting from the community members? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, which is adjournment. The next regular meeting is proposed for November 27 at 11 a.m. And I think I see the word proposed. I think that's around Thanksgiving week, if I'm not mistaken. Colin, Jackie, I guess there might be some scheduling concerns, or I don't know if you have.
I don't know if we've gotten that far yet, but
it's actually the week after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's right after Thanksgiving. I think sometimes you run into the same week.
Okay. I guess that's no problem for CCTA staff for holding the meeting, or at least preparing the agenda or anything. No problems, correct?
Yeah, as of right now, I don't think we've had that discussion yet, but I'm sure Colin can bring that up to you closer to if the time comes, if something comes up.
Okay, that's fine. I guess for now, we'll stay with our regularly scheduled fourth Monday. So that'd be November 27th, 2023 at 11. But I guess Colin, feel free to reach out to the committee if you have any issues with that, with the timing or anything. But other than that, that's this meeting is adjourned at 12:40. So committee members, staff, have a good rest of your day. So thank you for attending.